Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Answers podcast with myself, Adele Cobain. And on today's episode, we have the wonderful Sharron joining us today. Hello, Sharron.
Oh, hi.
Hello,
Hiya.
Sharron. And I believe in your holiday home, which is nice for some.
I'm in the holiday home, yes, getting some peace and quiet.
Ah, fantastic. Before we went live, you showed me a little bit of the views behind you, just so people can get an image of where you are. But it looks beautiful, just fields and country and very peaceful by the looks of things.
It certainly is, yeah. Away from the rat race.
So we can hear a slight accent. Whereabouts in the country are you?
Well, I'm from Edinburgh, but right now I'm up in Arisaig, up at the Highlands.
Oh, wow.
So as far up as you can go before you go into the water.
And have you always lived up north? Have you always been there? Is it you born and bred?
No. My parents, they've been coming up to Arisaig for 45 years because they had holiday homes. And basically, a couple of years ago, I wanted to get myself a holiday home, and my mum says, "Well, come up to Arisaig." And there's seriously nothing you can do up here. Because there's not even a shop on your doorstep.
Yeah.
There's no shop, so you have to rely on a car.
Yeah.
Um, which my husband brings me up here on a Friday, and then he disappears with my car on the Sunday. Leaves me all week. He comes back up on a Friday, you see. So I'm here all week, me and my 11 dogs.
Yeah.
I've got
Did you
9
say
chihuahuas.
11 dogs?
11 dogs. 11 dogs.
Are they rescue dogs?
Um, most of them, yes, most of them are rescue dogs of
Wow.
people who got their dogs. I mean, they're chihuahuas, they're tiny wee things. They're just, and they get the dogs and forget the pups, and then the pups chew, and then the pups get their backsides kicked out. And so basically, take my dog, otherwise it's going to the vet. And so
Oh. So
big
I
heart.
imagine, are they all different breeds? Are they the same breed?
No, I've got 9 chihuahuas and I've got 2 Yorkshire Terriers. But my Yorkshire Terrier, my wee soul dog, she died on the 10th of December 2023, 10 past 3 in my arms. She
Oh.
died. She died. And it taken me, I've always had a pack of dogs, always had them. But
Mm.
wee Teeny Bash is her name, Teeny Bash.
Oh.
She done something to me. I wanted to, it was, she touched me. It touched me so deep when she passed.
Mm.
But of course, I'm a spiritualist
Yeah.
and I see spirit, and that should comfort me, and which it did when I did see her.
Yeah.
And not last night, the night before, Teeny Bash, you would ask for a cuddle, and
Mm.
Teeny Bash would come up with her face, and she would press it into your face. I'm not feeling too well just now, I've got the cold. And not last night, the night before, Teeny Bash came up and gave me a cuddle.
Aww. They are like your
And
children, aren't they? It's so sad. When people have animals, they understand. It is such a loss when you've had them all your lives and all the experiences and all the, memories that you have with them. It is like losing a child.
oh
It's
yeah,
devastating. It's
yeah.
heartbreaking.
Well, I think it's because you spend so much time. I mean, I don't work. I used to work, but now because I have heart failure and what have you, so I don't basically retire from working.
Hmm.
And I think because of that, you're in the house with them all the time. You're spending more time. You get a deeper connection with them
Yeah.
than having a dog when you're working 9 to 5 and what have you. You have a deeper connection. You start talking to them like kids. You got time to that mess up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and they do because they pick it up with their mouth and eat it. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I
get
get
time to
that.
that.
I've got animals as
Yeah,
well. So, yeah, I totally get that. So, you said you're a
yeah.
spiritualist. So, I mean, let's go from the beginning. I mean, how did you know you had the psychic ability? Where did it all start for you?
Right, from a very young age, I was. My mum and dad would tell me that when I was able to sort of take my first steps and say my first words, I would always talk about people who were dead, but I didn't know they were dead. I didn't
Mm.
know it, right? And so basically, it was from that young age, and I would just the spirits would just come to me. You know, they would just come to me. I didn't know what they were then. It was obviously as I got older and the spirit was more intense. It was like that film, you know, Ghost. You see Whoopi Goldberg walking down the street and she's get away, get away.
Hmm.
I've had that experience. It's actually right. So I try to go to other people who claim they were spiritualists to see if I can what this was and how I could handle it.
Mm.
But it just that never worked. So I joined the White Feather Psychic Club in
Hmm.
Edinburgh, and I sort of managed to um, call on the spirit when I wanted them. They weren't always there. But my grandfather, he had throat cancer, and I was in my bed one night. Now, do you know the gas mantles that you get?
Hmm.
So my grandfather, this big massive gas mantle, my grandfather was standing that size against this gas mantle. And a bit of gas mantle would fall off, and this was signifying him getting weaker.
Mm.
And so, and I'm saying, no, no, you just hold on, I need to come and see you. But it fell like snow, and that was the end of my granddad. Then, of course, a couple of hours later, the phone rang, knocked on the door. My granddad had died.
Wow.
So I was with him, if you like,
Hmm.
spiritually.
Yeah, yeah.
The two of
Well,
us were there spiritually. But it's just something I've always had a connection with, whether I wanted it or whether I didn't want it. They've
mm.
always they've always been there.
Yeah.
I'm people don't. My parents, my mum not so bad, but my dad he does not believe in life after death.
Yeah.
It's frightened of me. So my brother was killed when he was 42, so that's now 20 years ago. He was killed in a car accident.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Now I hadn't seen my family because I lived in Spain. So
Mm.
I had came back that year. So I'd been in Spain 4 years. I didn't know what was going on around in my family, if you like. So my brother was killed. I got back in touch with my family. And that night in my bed, Scott, my brother, stood right beside me as clear as I could see you,
Hmm.
with a baby in his hands. And I says, Scott, I says, whose is the baby? He says, it's mine. I says, no, no, because I know, because my nephew and nieces were older, and
Yeah.
I knew there was none in spirit. So I says to him, I says, no, no. It turned out that his girlfriend, before he had died, was pregnant, and she told Scott that she had miscarried. So when Scott gets up there, Scott finds out she actually had an abortion. See?
Uh,
And then what he done as well, he says to me, do you want to, my grandmother went to the accident site and she taken Scott over, um, wherever they're going. And Scott says to me, do you want to see what happens when you die? I says, go on then. So in his case, he sat on a park bench and in front of him was black iron gates,
mm.
black. And over the other side of these gates, the fence was obviously garden, green grass, and on the gates was a massive TV, and he was watching his life from birth to death.
Hmm.
So I take that's maybe what you call repent. I don't know, maybe it's one of his bad bits. I don't know. It's what you call repent. But that's exactly what he showed me, and he also told me that when the police come to the house with his belongings from the car, he says to me, there's a packet of cigarettes in there. Now, my brother doesn't smoke.
Hmm.
He says, but there's a packet of cigarettes in there, 20 Embassy Regal. He says, Sylvia, whom's my sister, is going to claim these cigarettes.
Hmm.
And she tried to, sorry,
Yeah.
and she tried to claim these cigarettes, but I was to tell them that these cigarettes were bought for his then girlfriend. But you know what? I really couldn't do it because my mum and dad didn't like what I do.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there watching this unfold and the police coming and Sylvia claiming these cigarettes. And I know that if I say anything, that what I got from spirit,
Yeah.
it would upset the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So did
but
it?
you know,
I mean,
sorry.
it's first of all, I mean, that's such a sad story, heartfelt, to you for going through all of that. Is it's a horrible thing to go through at any time in your lives. with the information that your brother was giving you, did that come into fruition? Did the partner say that she didn't have a miscarriage and that she had an abortion? Is that something you found out at a later stage, or that was just information that he passed on, so you know that?
Uh, well, eventually, because my mum obviously was absolutely devastated. She lost her son.
Mm.
And so I went to her and says, look, I says, if it's any comfort, Scott came to me. And I did tell her what Scott had said, and my mum did turn around and say, well, we thought it was kind of funny that she all of a sudden had a miscarriage, because she disappeared for a night and then came back and she had a miscarriage, if you like.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, it wasn't confirmed by her, but
And
you know
obviously, at
what?
that point, going
I've done
through
this
a
for
loss of
many
her
years,
partner
and
anyway is not maybe the
between
right
the
thing.
different, sorry,
I was going to say, obviously, the loss of her partner is probably not the most appropriate thing to bring up in a conversation at that time, anyway.
well, yeah, exactly, and I found out over the years that not a lot of people like this, don't like. I've been called that I work with the devil, you
Mhm.
know. Um, so I don't go telling people, or if they have their beliefs, I have mine. I know what I've seen. And do you know what? Because I've had it for so many years, and the messages that mainly for myself, if they're if they're saying that's going to be detrimental, don't do that.
Mm.
It's like so, yeah. So I've always listened to them. I've always went with what they, so it stood me, and
Mm.
um, but I don't ram it down anybody's throat, because everybody has different beliefs, and you know what? Nobody actually knows, because we're not dead,
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I've seen too many spirits. I mean, I've done many a reading to people who I don't just, I don't know them. I don't know them. And to describe a dead person, to describe their house, where do I get that from?
Yeah.
Right, where do I get that from? I've seen my dead dog. I've seen my dead dog. I've got pictures of her. She
Mm.
died in she died in December. I've got pictures of her in the February after, and you'll see her as clear as day. You know that it's clear as day.
Yeah.
So there's definitely life after death, most definitely.
I mean, you've done this work for over 60 years,
Yeah,
a long time now. So you've probably experienced so many different things. Have you ever found that because of outside influences, because people can be a bit judgmental, don't understand it, have no maybe proof themselves, has it ever
hmm
knocked your confidence? Has it ever made you question your ability and what you're getting? Do you think sometimes it can be your imagination, or do you think that, you've never doubted it?
never doubted it, never
Mm.
doubted it. And the reason, because because it was such a young age, so no, I've never doubted it. Um, Obviously, I mean, people, they don't believe in what they've not seen, you
Hmm.
know. But after saying that, we used to live in a haunted house growing up as children, and seriously haunted house,
Hmm.
right? And but my dad still does not believe. There's been evidence. I mean, he went to the neighbour and he thought she was in because he heard the Hoover going, and he's knock on the door, no answer. He looks through the letterbox, there's the Hoover going itself. Now that's the kind of ghost you want in your house. It does the housework,
Yeah.
you know.
Gosh.
Sorry, I could do a couple of those, eh? Yeah,
Yeah.
come on,
And
yeah.
you saw that through
When,
the did you see that yourself through the letterbox?
but well, I
Or
was
he
just a
saw
young
it?
child. It was my dad that saw it. It was my
Yeah.
dad. It was my father. And it still does not. I don't actually think it's when people say they don't believe. It's they would like to believe. They would like to believe that once you have left this vessel of your body, your
Mm.
spirit moves on. I think they would like to believe, but there's not any hard evidence.
No, no.
Now, I could be anybody. I could be making it up, if you
Mm.
like, because there's a lot of people out there who, I mean, over the years, I've tried to find people who do what I do, bring through spirit.
Yeah.
But no, they read the cards and they're going to tell you, you've got to move house, you've got to do this. That's fortune telling. That's not spiritualism. That's
Mm.
fortune. That's fortune telling. So just with just with things that I have seen throughout my life and bringing, and I didn't ask for it. I'm just there's definitely something there. Most
Yeah, I totally
definitely.
get that. I've most of my experiences have come through my dreams, actually, of my loved
Yeah,
ones that
yeah.
have passed over, and that seems to be the way that they seem to connect with me. Not all the time, just when there's something very prominent going on in my life, or if I need to hear a message. And that, since they passed away, I can probably count it's been literally a handful of times. So my dad died when he was 57. I was in my 20s, and my mum died just before lockdown. So she was
Oh,
69, and I was 39. So they died quite, died quite young in my life, but they've probably come through a handful of times. So when they do come through, when I do get that dream, I know it is a message for me, because otherwise
yeah.
they'd be in my dreams all the time. So I do really pay attention to it, and even not necessarily with my family, but I had a premonition about my friend most recently, and I shared this on a podcast the other day. But um, and what's lovely is that my husband was a witness to it as well, because I woke up and had
Oh,
a
good.
dream. My dream was my friend is going to get engaged, and I was so upset that she hadn't told me. And I was like, I woke up the next day and I told this to my husband. I said, I've got to speak to my friend Hannah, because I had a dream that she's going to get engaged, and before we know it, she will be. Anyway, a few weeks passed. It was probably 2 weeks later. We were in the gym, me and my husband, and I said the same thing again. I need to message Hannah because she's going to get married before I know it. I know it. And then literally 2 hours later on Facebook, there was her announcing that she's just got engaged to the person that
Well,
she's been with. It's been a whirlwind of a romance. And I was like, I can't believe it. I had the dream. I said it 2 hours before, and then it was on Facebook. I was like, see? And he was like, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
I'd say I do believe that everybody has the ability of if somebody some a lot deeper, but everybody has they call it intuition. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, and people who that are non-believers, if you like, or skeptic, a lot of the spirit come to them in their sleep.
Yeah.
It's like as in a dream. So
Yeah.
because yeah, and I find there's a lot of that. I mean, my dad's told me that he's seen my brother since he's passed.
Yeah.
I don't. I, I think I don't think it's the not believing. I think it's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
They would like to. They would like to honestly think. My parents are still alive. My parents are 82, so they've got more years behind them than they do in front of them.
Mm.
Um, so you know, I think they would like to think that once we leave this body, and we do move on,
Mm.
we do continue on our journey because this is what it's all. Here is a school. This is a school. You're here to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is. And then see, I've always believed that you get a contract. When you're up there as a spirit, you get to choose your parents, you
Mm-hmm.
get to choose your life, right? So whatever happens in your life now is not a coincidence. You chose that.
Mm-hmm.
You chose that. And so you have a contract. You also in this contract is your date of death as well as your date of birth,
Mm.
your date of death, and you choose how you want to die as well.
Oh
If you
God.
want to, yeah, if you want to experience, going through like my ex-husband did, he died a dreadful death with cancer. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was dreadful, dreadful. Um, but he probably chose to experience that, if you
Mm.
like,
Mm.
because it's learning. That's what I believe. I
Yeah.
believe
And
I
people
believe we
listening
have a
to this will probably
contract.
think, well, why
We
would you
don't know
choose
when we're going to
another?
die. It's well because it's an experience that you want to experience what it's like going with cancer and what have you. Like somebody who gets hit with a bus, they want something instant. Just that it's just all learning. It's just all learning because if you put it this way, we're all going to pass on.
Mm.
It's how we decide how we're going to pass on. So you get a choice. It's up to yourself who you want to pass on.
But I
If
felt
you
like to pass
understand,
away quite
because
peacefully,
it's everybody. That's
which I think the majority of people listening will
yeah.
probably
Well,
think, surely everyone would want to go peacefully. Why would anyone want to?
yeah.
I hear where you're
Well,
coming
because
from, but people
well,
that maybe aren't quite spiritual might be thinking, why would anyone choose a seven? Why would anyone choose to be a serial killer? Why would anyone want to abuse or be a rapist? You know, why would you choose that as a contract?
yeah. Well, right, well, exactly. And people will say, well, there's not a God. My mother said the exact same when my brother was killed. If there was a God, my son would still be here.
Yeah.
It's all this. I suppose that's what comforts me in a lot of things. And, I don't judge people. I don't care who you are, and what you do,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are who you are, and if that's how you want to live, that's how you live. As long as you're not harming me, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't judge people because that's the way it's. There's somebody got everybody's somebody's got to do this and somebody's got to do that. So why doesn't it have to be, you? You
Mm-hmm.
could do it. I mean, I was chosen to communicate with spirit. Why was my husband not chosen to communicate with spirit? So
Mm-hmm.
it's not as black and white. I understand that you're saying, well, why would we choose to do this? And I've often said to myself, why did I choose to be in this kind of financial situation? Why did I not decide I was going to be a millionaire when I'm next time? Put that the next time in the contract.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
come back, I'm going to be yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just you get a shot. You get a shot of everything. You get a
Mm-hmm.
shot.
Mm-hmm.
You're old souls. You'll come back. You come back. Yeah.
Is this,
If
would
that
you
makes
say
any sense to you.
your main skill and your main passion and your main purpose is the connection with spirit, or have you got other passions and other avenues that you work with when you're doing your psychic work?
I'm. Well, I could healing. I mean, I do distant healing and things like that. I had a wee dog that the vet had written off with parvovirus. If you remember when way back when it was rife, and it just killing the dogs. My wee dog was unconscious and I had her in my arms, and the vet nothing could do. I put her on my table, and I don't know where it come from because I didn't know I could do this. I put her on my table and I got my hands and I hovered them, and I could feel my hands heating up. I could feel it, and it was guiding me. My hands, whatever was guiding me to the part of the body that was having the problem. Feel like that dog, that dog, from unconscious in my hands,
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes later, walking about the floor. My husband at the time, this is the one that died, this is not very well. My husband at the time could not believe it. He could
Mm-hmm.
not. I couldn't believe it. So I've done healing as well. I've certainly done the healing.
And is that more hands-on, or can you do that distant healing? Can we do it with
I,
our have
I could
our mind, our thoughts?
I can do it. I can do distant healing. Yeah, I can do distant healing. I've offered that on the phone lines that
Yeah,
I've
amazing.
offered to. Yeah. I'll
And
do distant
what
healing as
sort of
well.
what sort of predictions have you made over the years? Do you tend to do predictions for people? Would you say, you're going to have a baby in 2 years' time, or you're going to be moving in
Right.
2 months? Describe the property. Do those sort of things come up within the readings that you do?
Um, not so much moving, because that's material.
Mm-hmm.
Material things in spirit is nothing. Okay. So no, not so much that, but yes, for birth, my own daughter for one, she'd actually split up with her husband,
Mm-hmm.
and and sh Neil went with someone else. But anyway, so she comes to my daughter came to me wanting, and I says, look, Neil's going to come back, and I told her that he'll be back in April, and she was going to have a baby girl. No, no, and yeah, so I've got Lucy. Lucy's now 9 years old, my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my son with his wife, I've predicted the sex of the children, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. I've also a way back, and I'm talking in my early teens, and I didn't like this. I didn't like it because I was getting the premonitions of the. I don't know if you remember about the wee girls that were murdered, Caroline Hogg, right? I'd got and because I had my own daughter at the time, psyche and thought, there's a very, very fine line. Is that me thinking that, or is this spirit coming in? It had me off my head because I didn't know this is my daughter here, but I'd get premonitions, things like that, and not a thing I could do about it. So why are they giving me that?
Mm-hmm.
There's not a thing I could do about that. Please.
Oh, sorry, listeners. Oh, there you are.
Um,
We
and
lost you there for a
plane
connection
crashes.
just
So
went.
basically, that side of it, I wanted to move on from. I don't want premonitions, if you like, that kind of thing. I don't want
Yeah.
to know about things like that. But yeah, if you ask me about love, about marriage, if you're going to have kids, yeah,
Hmm.
I could predict that, no problem.
Yeah. So why do you, if you have that psychic ability and you have the, that connection,
You
why
know?
would, yes, can you hear me? I think there might be a little bit of a connection or a bit of a delay. I can hear you though. Are you okay, Sharron? Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Sharron? Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello.
Hello?
Can you hear me, Sharron?
What's happened?
There. Can you hear me? Can you hear us all right, Sharron, now? Sharron's just having a few difficulties at the minute. Just bear with us. Well, can you hear me, Sharron? Oh, no. I do apologise if you are listening right now. We're going to hopefully try and bring Sharron back on Ask the Answers podcast. I think in Scotland, she's so far up, the connection might not be as clear as we were hoping, but we're going to try and bring her back in now. Let's see if we can do that. Can you hear me now, Sharron?
Yeah, what happened there?
We just lost your connection. I could see you, but we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's because you're so far up north, we can't get to you.
yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, so
So,
I was talking away, but I don't know. Yeah.
So I was just repeating that, if you have the psychic ability and you have that connection with spirit, why is there certain things that they won't tell you, or you don't want to delve into, if it is something like finding missing people or disasters that are coming up or terrorist attacks or anything like that you could possibly, I don't know, could you prevent it? Could you, notify somebody? Why wouldn't you go down that, or why can't you get that information?
Right, because many years ago, can you remember Jill Dando?
Yeah.
Right. So not long after Jill's death, there was a man arrested for it. And one night, I was with my daughter, and one night I was told that I was talking to Jill Dando. I says, who are you? She says she was Jill Dando. And the person that they have is not the person that killed me. And she wanted me to go to Scotland Yard. And I says, but what? They're not going to listen to somebody picking up phone. By the way, the person you've got is not who killed Jill Dando. So, but she did tell me that the person who killed her is in America. And she actually refers to this person. If they went to her bedside cabinet, she kept like a diary, and this person's name was mentioned in this diary. She goes, but this person's in America. But the person they had at the time was not who killed her. And she wanted me to go to Scotland Yard.
Yeah.
And I did think about it, but if I phoned up Scotland Yard, somebody up in Edinburgh saying, oh, by the way, you're not going to be taken seriously. You have to, you have
Would
to
they
have
not
some
have to
kind
act upon that information? Would they not do
that? No, because when I looked into the police who deal with spirits and with people who claim that they're getting messages from spirits, there's not very many who are actually right, so they're basically wasting their time. So unless I was like like, I don't know if you remember that Doris Stokes, unless I was somebody like her, they might have then, okay, we're going to listen to you, but I'm just somebody claiming, who they've never heard of. I also had somebody that came to me and who had told me that they were in a field buried in a field, and they had been shot.
Oh no, we keep losing Sharon.
Blasted
Sorry,
in
Sharon,
this
we just
field, and it
lost you
was
again.
the gangland, it was gangs that had killed him, and he's in a field. Can I go to the police and tell them? Okay, what? Right, so I'll go to the police and say, there's a guy buried in the field somewhere, he was shot. What do you do with that? What do you do with that?
Gosh, and that whole Jill Dando's.
Are you there?
Yeah. I keep losing you a little bit, but we heard that. So with the Jill Dando, did that guy?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Sharon?
It's cutting it off.
Sharon, can you hear me? Okay. Hello. Can you hear me, Sharon? Okay, just bear with us, everybody. Can you hear us, Sharon?
Yep. Yes, yeah.
Keep losing your connection. Just when you're talking about something so interesting as well.
I think it's maybe because my mother keeps phoning me.
Oh.
Could that be? Yeah.
Oh no. Typical mums interrupting.
Okay?
Yes, I'm doing a podcast, mother.
All right, I'll phone you later.
Right, okay, bye.
Bye.
Right, can you hear me okay?
We've got your mum on the podcast as well.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Sharon?
Jeez. Oh, come on.
Sharon, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Right, so,
well, this is making an interesting podcast. We've got your mum ringing through.
Oh, yeah.
Dear.
Well, she's asking me if I'm okay because obviously we have the cold and obviously she was kind of worried about me. Are you okay?
She's trying to get through and she can't get through. Sharon, obviously,
sorry.
You were talking about some very interesting subjects there. I mean, one of them, which was very well known in the media, about Jill Dando, and they arrested the wrong person. Did they ever find that person that was mentioned in her diary? Did they ever find?
No.
There wasn't.
No.
And did people know the information about the diary and this man's in there from America? Well, why would it be in her diary? So she knew this guy.
It's because she knew the person. She knew the paths had crossed. She knew of them. She knew them. So.
And it never come to light.
Sorry.
This information's never come to light. Nobody's ever found this guy.
Nope.
Wow.
And they'll never. And he's in America. And right away after it was right away after he shot her, he was switched off. He was never going to be incarcerated.
And how does that make you feel when you know that information? You feel it so strongly, and you can, even with their family, have the answers for them, but can't do anything about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you were Jill Dando's sister, saying I phoned you up and says, look, here, you're going to say you're a crackpot, go away, you're a crackpot. Yeah, the guy that was locked up for a murder, he eventually, I think it was thrown out. I'm quite sure it didn't go ahead with him being charged with a murder. But I'll tell you what I did feel though. I did feel for goodness sake. I did. This is my life, by the way. This is my life. If it goes wrong, yeah, it happens to me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Nothing straightforward in my life, by the way.
No.
Right. Okay. Right. So,
and then you were saying that as well. So
if the person,
I was going to say before we got cut off, before your mum came through to have a little chat with you. You were talking about a field and there was a gang of people and somebody got shot. What was that story?
Yeah. Right. So this random spirit had come to me one night, and they had wanted me to go to the police. And why do you want me to? Because I'm in a field, he says, right, and he was buried in this field because they had been shot by ganglands. And I don't know if you know Glasgow very well, but they had the Cray brothers and everything came to there and what have you. So they have like these gangs, hitmen, they call it, hitmen,
Yeah.
okay? So basically, this guy was shot by one of these hitmen, and he's in a field. And he wanted me to go to the police and tell them that he's in a field. He's dead, obviously, but
Yeah.
he wants his body to be found.
Yeah.
Now, what field are you in? Can you tell me that?
Yeah.
You
Have you
know,
got that?
yeah. To have to go about like with a shovel on my back and dig up all the fields in Glasgow, sort of thing, before I could phone the police. And there we go. You know. So, but he was adamant. He would come through, you know, just about every night. I said, no, nothing I can do about it. You know,
And did his body did that come up in the news? Did the body get found in a field? Or was he never found?
right. So what had came up about that time? It was called. There was a company. Um, that this Stephen, right? And I'll tell you what, because it was on Crime Watch, right? It
Mm.
was on Crime Watch. And this guy, Stephen, and I remember actually a name Stephen, and this guy, Stephen, um, who was who went missing, and they believe he was murdered, but could never find his body. And
Yeah.
he worked with this company, oh God, to do with car parts and what have you, right? But it turned out that he was in with the wrong people. He was
Yeah.
in with the wrong people. Now, what they had done, right, with this Stephen, the gang were after him. The gang
Mm.
were after him, and they had got him in his works van, right? They got him in his works van, and they found the van, but never found the body.
Oh
They
wow.
never found the body. So I had went back to the boy in the field, and I believe that was where the connection was.
Yeah.
I believe it. This Stephen, who had randomly disappeared, and they
Yeah.
had those connections, and body was never it was never found.
Yeah.
So I believe this is why this person was coming through and saying, "I'm in a
Yeah.
field. I'm in a
Do you
field."
not like? Does that not make you think like every night or every time you want to get more of that? Are you not curious type where you'd be like, well, tell me more. I want to go and find where you are, and for you, for your own sort of confirmation, or for you to have that proof to go, what I'm getting, yes, it is correct. Like if he was coming through and said, I'm in this field, I'm in that place, would you want to go and try and find him?
I'm not very good with a shovel. I'm not very good at digging. I think it'd take a lot of work to go and dig all these fields up in Glasgow. You'd have to, you would, yeah. My daughter, because
It'd
my
be
daughter says,
impossible.
yeah, it played on, because obviously I was telling my daughter, and it was playing on her mind. And she goes, "Mum, I think you should go to the police."
Yeah.
I says, be realistic, Michelle. What do we tell the police? But
Yeah.
I've heard voices, this man saying, and of course we're now tying up with this gang and this boy Stephen who's disappeared, and they believe he's been killed by this gang. Um, so I mean, come on. I mean, I'm
Wow.
just Joe Blogs. I'm just Joe Blogs. Eh?
I mean,
Now,
what a colourful life you've had by the sounds of it. I mean, I mean, have you written a book?
no, I'm not. Yeah, I could write a book. I could write a book.
I mean, what other things stand out over the years of this of your psychic abilities or things that you've come through? I mean, even those two stories that you've told us. I mean, it's just remarkable. If people are listening and watching, they must be thinking, "Wow, what?" I mean, you've been doing this for over 60 years. There must be so much that you've picked up on.
The hundreds. Right, I used to own a pet shop, because I love my animals. And I used to have two monkeys, Pammy and Chico, and
Monkeys.
yeah,
Everyone
monkeys.
has monkeys.
Yeah. We marmosets. I had marmosets, so I had two of them.
Oh, God.
Jeez. And you wonder why people think I'm mad, eh?
I
But I
love
don't
it.
care. So I had my marmoset monkeys, and I had 6 horses, and I came with my horse this time. This will be a quick one for you. Came with my horse this time, and I broke my back, but I managed to get up and drive my car and take myself to the hospital and told them I broke my back. You've not broke your back, you wouldn't be able to walk. And I says, well, look, I really need to get home because I've got two monkeys to feed. Oh, you've hurt your head. I says, no, I honestly have two monkeys to feed. They thought I was,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
says, no, I have two monkeys to feed. Well, anyway, they done x-rays, and she goes, you broke your back. I says, I know. How did you walk? It's just, I'm a woman, that's what we do. But no, Yeah, so when I had this pet shop, this woman came in. They would come off the street. They didn't even have any pets, so I must have just attracted them. And she says to me, "I've just been driving down the road here." She says, "Fairmill Head is a farm, right?" And she goes, "My daughter, who's 5, in the back seat, had says, 'Mum, see that building there?'" Yeah, Mum says, "Yeah." "Well, when I was a 17-year-old boy," she says, "I fell off that building and died. And I decided to pick you as my mum and dad, you and dad as my mum and dad, and I've came back." And the woman was like that. She was shaking. Then I says, "Well, it's quite easy, just get the records." Of course, she did, didn't it? And there was a 17-year-old boy that had died. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, the stories. Because I find people like that are attracted to me anyway. And you get their stories as well, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
But there was an old woman that came in, and she didn't even have a cat, she didn't even have a budgie. And she was quite upset, and I said to her, I said, "What's wrong with you?" She says, I've lost my wedding ring, my engagement ring, and my eternity ring. Her husband had died not very long ago. And so seriously, she's standing in front of me, their husband appears, her
Mm.
husband right there, and they had died of a heart attack. So what do you do in that situation, eh? Because you've got to remember, a lot of people don't believe in this. So you just have to say, "Well, I've got to say what I see here." Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I says to her, I said, "I've got your husband here." I says, "He died of a heart attack." And she's automatically, and I says, "He's telling me that if you go back to the house," I says, "there's a chair in that house." I says, "You hate that chair." I says, "Because it really should be put in the bucket." I says, "It's sagging now," and says, "and everything, and you wanted to throw that chair out, but your husband wasn't having it because it's his favourite chair." She says, "Yeah, yeah, that's right." I says, "Well, go down that chair." I says, "and you'll find your rings." I says, "That's exactly where your rings are." I
Yeah.
says, "So," and she did. She came back and she was like, "Yes."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think for the good, I think for the good that the spirits help you.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're going to use it for anything for gain,
Mm-hmm.
no, it'll get taken away
Yeah.
from you. It gets
Yeah.
taken away. So yeah, if you're going to, because I'm here to help people.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that's
do you
why
enjoy it? Do you feel rewarded? Do you feel,
yeah, yeah. Especially when, I mean, as you know, I'm on the phones, and it was hard for me to do the phones to begin with because it's always been face to face, and I found I had a deeper connection. I didn't know how it was going to work on the phones because I'm just hearing voices. I don't know how it's going to work on the phone. So I now know that it's through their voice that I'm getting the connection. I'm getting
yeah.
the connection from the energy. And I've only been doing it for about a month. And as the time goes on, I feel it's coming in stronger,
Uh-huh.
as strong as it is when I'm doing face to faces. Because there was one last night. I told her that when she comes back tonight, that her man's going to be sitting on this chair, and I told her about this chair. She goes, "How do you know?" She says, "Oh, you bloody good." She says, she goes, "I've got that chair in my dining room. I wish you could see it." I said, "But I can." I can't see it. That's right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
Wow.
and also as well, I think when you're doing that, it also helps. It helps me because it deepens your belief.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is people you just will not pick up on, and they're determined you're not going to pick up on them. Give me
Yeah.
a reading. They'll phone you up. I want a reading, I want a general reading, there's a block up. You can feel the block up, but you'll try your best to get through that, and it just doesn't work. These people just want to these people, um, gold. Seriously,
Is that your mum again?
no, that was somebody wanting to give me a £15,000 loan. I think,
Oh.
yeah,
Plus
one of these
interest.
scams.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you get them, eh?
I mean, you've had obviously a very, as I mentioned, colourful life, and even just from finding out this podcast in the last 44 minutes, we found out so much about the things that you've experienced, having 2 monkeys, 6 horses. You've talked about
And a donkey,
and a
Alfie.
donkey.
Alfie the donkey. Yeah,
Of course, why not have a donkey?
yeah.
But you also mentioned at the start of the podcast, if I heard rightly, that you've also been through your own health issues. Did you mention that you had heart failure or a heart
Yeah,
problem? Wow, when was that? Was that a recent thing, or was that a while ago?
5 years now. Five
Wow.
years now. And actually, because I'm type 1 diabetic, so and I have GERD. That's it's a reflux disease. Gives you seriously bad heartburn. So there was one night I was in my bed and I got this bad heartburn, and I couldn't sit back because it was through my back, and I couldn't. Oh, it was
Yeah.
bad, and I was taking all these heartburn remedies, but just could not. So anyway, I eventually fell asleep. But I go to the doctors because I have a list of health issues. And she was sitting writing my notes. I thought, I'll mention the pain I have in my chest just for something to say. She sent me for an MRI, and it was a Friday. And then she phoned me, and about 6 o'clock the Friday night, she says, Sharon, you need to go to the hospital. She goes, I think you've had a heart attack. I says, it's 6 o'clock Friday night. I says, Emmerdale's coming on, and so is Coronation Street. I'm not spending any time in the hospital on a Friday
Don't keep the
night.
Alfie needs feeding, the monkeys.
I've not got time for the hospital. She says, seriously, Sharon, no, I'm not going to the hospital. She says, well, will you come and see me on Monday morning then? I says, right, what time? I've got to work around other things here. So anyway, I went to see her, but the bugger, she said, she had the ambulance here waiting to whisk me off to the hospital. I said, no. I said, my husband's round in the house. I'll get him to take me to the hospital. Are you sure? Yeah. Well, I want you. Well, I turned up at the hospital, but the next again day, because I had things that I'd planned to do that day. And right enough, I had a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they said it was a silent heart attack, but when I take my mind back, it was that night where I had that really, really,
Yeah.
what I thought was bad heartburn. It was that night. I've had a heart attack since then, as well, but I've never, just got over it. You can't, I
Oh,
mean, you've got to die with something, eh? May as well.
but this is
Um,
true, but
but-
hopefully you'll be around for a little bit longer, Sharon, because our callers need you.
yeah. Oh,
Sharon,
mother, yes.
I could talk to you for hours and hours. You've got so much to say. You're such an interesting lady. And this is what is so nice about the podcast, is that it makes you such a real person. And people are going to listen to this podcast and go, wow, what a life this lady has lived. But also just how much experience and empathy you're going to have with people that come through and have readings with you, because you've experienced so much. It gives you that empathy. It gives you that knowledge when you're talking to people.
Yeah. And I wish my husband would hear what you've got to say there, because you see you've got something interesting to say. My husband wouldn't agree with you. He thinks I'm just yeah. No, he just tells me to shut up. Yeah, no, because that is a thing. Because with my husband throughout the years, I feel I'm protected. I have a protection, right? So if he is going to be maybe changing jobs, but it's not going to be the job for him, it's going to be detrimental to me. So I'll try and tell him. I'll say, no, you can't do that job. This is when it becomes a curse rather than a gift, because I'm now trying to say to my husband to stop him, and he'll say, and who told you that? Didn't he tell me it's these spirits again? Oh, your spirits. But he'll put it down to me trying to control him rather than stop him from making a mistake. Yeah.
And then that's where
And
he's
that's
got to
and
learn
that
his
and
own
that has
journey and his
been
own lessons.
and exactly, and I'll say, and then if you see when it goes wrong, I say, well, I told you so. I told you so. Don't ever. Yeah, I told you so.
Oh,
Yeah, you will listen.
bless
You will
you.
listen at some point.
Sharon,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I could talk to you for days, but unfortunately, we are going to have to wrap up the podcast now because we're running out of time. But if people want to speak to you, which no doubt I'm sure they will,
Yeah.
because you're a remarkable lady, your PIN number is 700-645. You work on Ask the Answers phone lines. And I mean, it's been such an amazing time to speak to you today. I've absolutely loved it, even with all the interruptions here, there, and everywhere. I've quite enjoyed our chaotic podcast. And say hello to your mum from me.
That's my life. That's exactly nothing straightforward. I will do. I will
She will
do.
enjoy your holiday home.
Nice.
Enjoy some you time. I hope you feel better soon and keep up the good work.
I will do. No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Take care, Sharon. Bye-bye.
I will do. Bye.